What if I told you that the strongest soldier in Attack on Titan was also the most broken? When people talk about suffering in Attack on Titan, they usually mention Eren Yeager. After all, Eren lost his mother, discovered horrifying truths about the world, and eventually became the enemy of humanity itself. Others point to Mikasa, who spent her entire life protecting the people she loved while constantly fearing she would lose them. Some even argue that Erwin Smith suffered the most because he carried humanity's hopes on his shoulders and sacrificed countless lives in pursuit of the truth.
My soldiers push forward! My soldiers scream out! My soldiers rage!
But there is one character whose pain is often overlooked. A man who spent his entire life losing the people closest to him. A man who survived every tragedy only to witness another one waiting around the corner. A man who never allowed himself the luxury of breaking down. That man is Levi Ackerman, humanity's strongest soldier. But what truly makes Levi special isn't his strength, it's his ability to keep moving forward despite a lifetime of suffering. And the deeper you look into his story, the more heartbreaking it becomes. Long before Levi became a legendary soldier, before he was feared by Titans and respected by the Survey Corps, he was just a child born into one of the cruelest places imaginable. Deep beneath the walls existed the underground city, a dark world hidden from the sunlight where poverty, violence, and hopelessness ruled everyday life. While people above ground dreamed of freedom, those living underground were simply trying to survive. This was the world Levi inherited at birth. He didn't grow up surrounded by opportunity. He didn't grow up with safety or comfort. From the very beginning, life treated him unfairly. The only light in Levi's childhood was his mother, Kuchel Ackerman. Despite having almost nothing, she did everything she could to keep her son alive. She loved him more than anything. But love alone wasn't enough to defeat the harsh reality of the underground. Illness slowly consumed her, and one day, Levi came home to find the only person who cared about him gone forever. Imagine being a child trapped in a dark city with no food, no protection, and no family. Most people would have given up. Many wouldn't have survived, but Levi somehow endured. However, surviving came with a terrible lesson. The first person he ever loved was taken away from him, and this would become a pattern that followed him for the rest of his life. Just when it seemed Levi had been completely abandoned by the world, someone appeared. His uncle, Kenny Ackerman. Known throughout the walls as Kenny the Ripper, he was one of the most dangerous men alive. He wasn't kind. He wasn't nurturing. He wasn't the type of person anyone would call a good role model. Yet somehow, he became Levi's guardian. Kenny taught him how to survive. He taught him how to fight, how to defend himself, and how to navigate a cruel world where weakness was punished. For a while, Levi wasn't alone anymore. For a while, it felt like he had someone. But then, Kenny did what many people in Levi's life would eventually do. He left one day. Without warning, without explanation, Kenny simply disappeared. No goodbye, no farewell, no closure. He was just gone. Once again, Levi found himself abandoned. First, his mother died, and now the only person who had kept him alive had walked away. This wasn't just painful. It was psychologically devastating. Every loss taught Levi the same lesson. Don't get attached. Don't trust people too much, because sooner or later, everyone leaves. Slowly, Levi began building emotional walls around himself. Walls so strong that very few people would ever see the vulnerable person hidden underneath. Years passed, and Levi survived the only way he knew how. He fought, stole, and adapted to the harsh reality of the underground. Then something unexpected happened. He met two people who would change his life forever: Furlan Church and Isabel Magnolia. For the first time in years, Levi found companionship. He found people who cared about him. Together, they became a family. They laughed together, dreamed together, and struggled together. In a world filled with darkness, they became each other's light. Looking back, it's difficult to imagine because the Levi we know is usually cold and serious. But during this period of his life, Levi was genuinely happy. He smiled more. He trusted people. He believed there might actually be a better future waiting for him. Eventually, Levi and his friends were given a chance to leave the underground and experience the world above. For people who had spent their entire lives trapped in darkness, this opportunity felt like freedom. It felt like hope. But Attack on Titan has never been a story that rewards hope for long. During an expedition outside the walls, Titans attacked. Chaos erupted, and before Levi could save them, Furlan and Isabel were killed. Just like that, the people who had become his family were gone. Levi arrived too late. Once again, he couldn't protect the people he cared about. Once again, he survived while everyone else died. This moment changed Levi forever. Something inside him broke. The cheerful young man disappeared. The hopeful dreamer disappeared. In his place emerged the Levi Ackerman fans would eventually come to know: calm, cold, disciplined, emotionally distant, not because he lacked feelings, but because he had too many. Every attachment in his life seemed to end with pain. Every person he loved seemed destined to disappear. And so Levi began convincing himself that staying emotionally distant was safer. Soon after, Levi crossed paths with a man who would become one of the most important people in his entire life, Erwin Smith. At first, Levi didn't trust him. Why would he? Trust had only ever brought him suffering. But Erwin was different. He possessed a vision unlike anyone Levi had ever met. While others accepted humanity's limitations, Erwin constantly searched for answers. While others surrendered to fear, Erwin pushed forward. He believed humanity could overcome impossible odds. And slowly, Levi began believing in him too. What made their relationship special wasn't friendship in the traditional sense. It was mutual respect. Both men understood sacrifice. Both men carried enormous burdens. Both men knew what it felt like to watch others die for a greater cause. Together, they fought battle after battle. Together, they witnessed horrors that would break most people. And over time, Erwin became one of the few people Levi truly trusted. Perhaps the only person who completely understood him. If you're enjoying this psychological breakdown and want more deep anime analysis like this, make sure to subscribe to AniPsyche. For the first time since losing Furlan and Isabel, Levi allowed himself to care deeply about someone again. Unfortunately, caring about people had never ended well for him. As the years passed, the Survey Corps continued losing. Why? Why them and not you? Could you have done more? Could you have saved them? Levi rarely speaks about these feelings, but they're visible throughout the story. Every time a comrade dies, Levi carries that weight with him. Every sacrifice becomes another scar. One of the most misunderstood aspects of Levi's personality is his emotional restraint. Many fans see him as fearless and unemotional, but the truth is far more tragic. Levi feels everything. He simply hides it. After years of loss, he learned to bury his emotions because fully processing every tragedy would be unbearable. Instead of grieving openly, he focuses on the mission. Instead of crying, he keeps moving forward. Instead of breaking down, he becomes stronger. But hidden beneath that calm exterior is a man carrying decades of pain. And sadly, the worst losses of Levi's life were still ahead of him. He had already lost his mother. He had already been abandoned by Kenny. He had already watched Furlan and Isabel die. Yet fate wasn't finished testing him. Soon he would lose an entire squad of trusted comrades. Soon he would witness one of the greatest sacrifices in anime history. Soon he would be forced to make a decision so painful that fans still debate it years later. A decision that would change him forever. Because the story of Levi Ackerman isn't just about strength, it's about endurance. It's about what happens when someone keeps surviving tragedy after tragedy. And, as we'll soon discover, the next chapter of Levi's life would push him closer to his breaking point than ever before. The story of Levi Ackerman is often remembered through his greatest victories. Fans remember him destroying titans with impossible speed. Humiliating enemies who seemed unstoppable, and proving again and again why he was called humanity's strongest soldier. But what many people don't realize is that every victory in Levi's life came with a terrible cost. Behind every triumph was another loss. Behind every success was another scar. And as Levi continued fighting for humanity, the people around him continued disappearing. One of the few groups Levi genuinely trusted was his Special Operations Squad. Petra Rao, Jin, Oluo Bozado, and Gunther Schultz weren't just soldiers under his command. They were comrades he believed in, people whose skills and dedication had earned his respect. For Levi, trust was something incredibly rare. After everything he had experienced, he didn't give it easily. Yet this squad had become more than teammates. They had become another family. The tragedy of Levi Ackerman didn't end with his childhood. In many ways, it was only beginning. As Levi continued serving in the Survey Corps, he finally found people he could trust. Petra, Eld, Oluo, and Gunther weren't just soldiers under his command. They were comrades who believed in him, fought beside him, and risked their lives for the same cause. For someone who had spent most of his life, when the female Titan appeared, everything changed. The squad fought bravely, but it wasn't enough. One by one, Levi's trusted comrades were killed. By the time he arrived, it was already over. Petra was gone, Eld was gone, Gunther was gone, Oluo was gone. Another family erased from his life in a matter of moments. And the worst part? Levi couldn't even stop to grieve. The mission continued, the war continued, and life moved forward as if nothing had happened. But Levi remembered every single one of them. Years later came the battle that would change everything, the return to Shiganshina. Humanity was finally close to uncovering the truth, but standing in their way was the Beast Titan. As soldiers died around him, Levi watched the person he trusted most prepare for a mission he knew he wouldn't survive. Erwin Smith. For years, Erwin had carried humanity's hopes on his shoulders. He sacrificed everything for the future, but now the weight had become too much. For the first time, Levi saw not a commander, but a tired man who had suffered enough. And so, when Erwin led the charge against the Beast Titan, Levi made a decision that would haunt him forever. He let him go. Then came one of the most heartbreaking moments in anime history, the serum choice. Only one person could be saved, Armin or Erwin. Logic said Erwin. Humanity needed Erwin. But Levi chose Armin, not because Erwin wasn't important, but because Levi believed Erwin deserved peace. After years of sacrifice, years of guilt, and years of carrying impossible burdens, Levi finally allowed his closest friend to rest. But that decision left Levi alone once again. As if that wasn't enough, Levi carried one final promise. Kill the Beast Titan, not for revenge, not for hatred, but for every soldier who died following Erwin, every fallen scout, every broken dream, every sacrifice. Yet every time Levi got close, Zeke escaped again and again and again. Each failure felt like another betrayal of the dead. Eventually, Levi captured Zeke. Victory seemed certain. Then everything exploded. The blast left Levi horribly injured. His face was scarred, his body damaged. And for the first time, humanity's strongest soldier looked vulnerable. But even then, Levi survived, because surviving was the one thing he had always done. As the rumbling began and the world collapsed into chaos, Levi kept fighting, not because he wanted glory, not because he wanted recognition, but because people still needed him. And in the final battle, after years of loss, pain, and sacrifice, Levi finally fulfilled his promise. The Beast Titan was defeated. The mission was complete. But victory didn't feel like victory, because no matter how many enemies he defeated, he could never bring back the people he lost. And that's when you realize the saddest truth about Levi Ackerman. His greatest enemy was never a Titan. It was loneliness. His mother died. Kenny left. Furlan and Isabel died. His squad died. Erwin died. Countless comrades died. Everyone disappeared. Yet Levi remained. By the end of Attack on Titan, Levi wasn't carrying weapons anymore. He was carrying memories. Memories of friends. Memories of sacrifices. Memories of people who gave everything for a future they would never see. That's what makes Levi Ackerman such a powerful character. Not his strength, not his speed, not his Ackerman blood, but his resilience life kept taking everything from him. Yet, he kept moving forward, again and again and again. And that's why Levi Ackerman isn't just humanity's strongest soldier. He's also the most tragic character in Attack on Titan. This is AniPsyche. If you enjoyed this psychological breakdown, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.